Lowe's knows that free is just better. That's why MyLowe's Rewards is free to join. As a member, you earn points towards MyLowe's money on eligible purchases, get exclusive free gifts, and earn free shipping at Silver Key status, all on top of weekly member-only deals. Don't wait. Join MyLowe's Rewards for free today and start saving more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
What goals did you set for 2025? If better sleep is one, Symbiotica's magnesium L-threonate helps you wake up refreshed. For gut health, their glutathione supports digestion and reduces bloating. Symbiotica is one of the most transparent brands out there, never compromising on quality or sourcing. Their products are free from seed oils, preservatives, toxins, and artificial additives, something you can taste and feel in every packet. Go to Symbiotica.com and use code iHeart for 20% off and free shipping. That's Symbiotica.com, code iHeart.
I mean, do you guys really think they need another extended intro?
Yeah, man. Intermission is pretty short, and people need time to get more drinks. Give them some time.
Okay, well, let's just hope that you-know-who there sits down a little faster this time.
Ugh, yes, the worst.
I am telling you, you are wasting your time.
Exactly.
Hey, guys. Why are we watching Eli dig a hole?
Great question.
Oh, finally, Heath, Tom. You're strapping young men. Come help me dig this thing.
No, absolutely not. I'm sweating just watching you.
Yeah, Cecil says I can't have shovels anymore. Nothing with a handle is his thing now.
Yeah, that's a rule.
Come on, guys. It's the Battle of the Crater this episode. The last stand of the Civil War. What better place to do it from than a scarred, empty pit in the earth?
And for the last time, Eli, I already told you, you don't need to do that.
Oh, for goodness sake, why, Cecil?
Because we're going to do this one live in New York City?
You know what? Fair point. Help me out of here.
Finally. Jesus.
See how long it took that guy to sit down?
Right?
Hello and welcome to Citation Needed live in New York City. Just in case anyone's new, this is the podcast where we choose a subject, read a single article about it on Wikipedia, and pretend we're experts. Because this is the internet, and that's how it works now. I'm Heath, and somehow I've been chosen to host this episode about my direct ancestor, Robert E. Lee, and one of his Confederate victories. So this will be fun.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Yeah, great work, Uncle Bob. So I'm going to mostly shut the fuck up and hand things over to my very diverse panel of experts. First up, we have three guys who look like the Confederate Army JV squad. Cecil, Eli, and Tom.
Right? Yeah.
I only got recruited because I have an adorable name for my penis. Dixie. Little Dixie.
I will whistle you all day.
And I only look like a Confederate soldier because of the beard and the cholera. It's judgy. I don't like labels.
I was going to write a joke here, but it seemed like a lost cause. So,
Ouch.
Interesting. Fans.
Oh,
of
this
the
is going to be a good one.
And also joining me, all the way from South Georgia, where the war is officially still at halftime.
Yeah, that's what they say. That's what they say.
so is.
We have the only Stacey Abrams voter whose vote actually got counted.
Right? Right?
Give it up for No Illusions.
Aw. Yeah, it's great for Halloween. Lucinda and I just put the Stacey Abrams sign back on the lawn. Fucking terrified.
All right. right, let's get right into it. We already gave you some hints, but let's make it official. Eli, what person, place, thing, concept, phenomenon, or event are we going to be talking about today?
Today we'll be talking about the Battle of the Crater.
Excellent. And Noah, you can see at least 20 Confederate flags from your house at any given moment.
Yep, I sure can.
By Georgia state law. Are you ready to seethe talk?
I am, sir.
Excellent. So what was the Battle of the Crater?
All right, so the Battle of the Crater was an infamous military blunder during the American Civil War in which the Union Army blew a giant hole in the ground, climbed into it, and waited for someone to shoot them. That's the whole fucking story. So if you've seen the movie Cold Mountain, this is the battle that's depicted in the opening scene of that movie. And if you've seen the movie Brokeback Mountain, this is kind of like getting fucked in the ass, too. It's similar in many ways.
I really need to watch that movie. I don't think I'm doing it right.
The Sibian people will help you.
Yes. All right, so there's a bunch of guys pressed into a tight hole waiting to shoot.
Yep.
The U.S. military, some things never change. Here we go.
All right. So this story takes place in July of 1864, more than 3 years into the war. By now, it's pretty clear that the U.S. is going to win this war, but it's just not clear how long that's going to take or how many people are going to have to die to make it happen. The Confederacy is on the brink of collapse, and one of their last remaining strongholds is Richmond, Virginia. It is no exaggeration to say that if the Union Army could take Richmond, they could end the war.
Thus marking the first and last time Richmond, Virginia would matter.
It is picturing that conversation on the battlefield, right?
Sir, it is essential we take Richmond.
Yeah, you keep saying that.
I think we have the manpower, the logistics, and the tactical advantage.
Right.
Yet you don't strike.
I know. It's just...
Just what?
Just after we take it, how long until we can give it back?
I mean, a couple of months? It might be part of the North forever.
Right, so...
Yeah, pin in that?
Pin in that.
Yeah, I got it.
Now, about 25 miles south of Richmond, there's a city called Petersburg, and during the war, that's a critical transportation hub. So you got 9 different roads, 5 different rail lines, all converging right there on their way over the Appomattox. So basically, everything being shipped from the south to Richmond has to make its way through exactly this spot. Obviously, this left the Union Army salivating over it. The only problem was that weapons tech was moving a hell of a lot quicker than vehicle tech at that point, and the Confederate Army was already there.
Well, you know how much the South likes to surrender. The Confederates just didn't want to capitulate.
Oh.
Yeah. Capitulate means to surrender. That's the joke.
Wow, I saw that in the notes, and I couldn't even tell where the joke was until you said it.
You'll all find a thesaurus under your seat, so just grab that. It's fine.
You get a joke. You get a joke.
All right, so one of the things that makes the Civil War so interesting to me is it's one of the first major wars in the rapid-fire era where both sides of a conflict have access to rapid-fire technology. Right, so machine guns wouldn't be invented for a couple of decades, but there were already various proto-machine guns in use. The Gatling gun was invented early on in this war. So basically, all the generals in this army were having to deal with whole new problems when they went up against entrenched positions. And if you know anything at all about World War I, this is a problem that military theorists still wouldn't have solved 50 years later.
You make it sound like it's some kind of complicated equation. The generals are just trying to find out, it's like you just had to solve for X where X equals more bodies. It's not.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah, you would think this kind of thing would only have to happen once on either side before someone would suggest not lining up your troops like Connect 4 pieces.
Now, of course, Heath's direct ancestor, Robert E. Lee, knows full well.
Yeah.
I was also related to Grant. It's true.
Yeah. Sure.
It's same ties.
Yep. All right.
Cancels.
So, of course, Lee knows exactly how important Petersburg is, so he loads it up with formidable defenses on all sides. He's got zigzagging trenches with interlocking fields of fire that surround the entire city. All the brush, all the cover's been removed for like hundreds of yards in front of all these trenches, and they replaced all of that by crazy defenses like medieval type shit, like spiked logs and stuff.
So Staten Island.
Or exactly.
I guess we're safe if Jersey tries to invade. Fuck, go back. This is not worth it.
Little known fact, we were all just a mote of alligators away from losing this.
Yeah, right? That's should have shot him in the legs, yeah. So
Trump really wanted to do that. It's true.
So the Union Army tries to take Petersburg. The Confederate Army says, "Nuh-uh," and this results in what's called the Siege of Petersburg. Now, this is not technically a siege, which would imply that the city was completely surrounded by military forces. What we actually have here is an early example of trench warfare. They just didn't have a name for that yet. So Grant's forces push against the city pushes back, and ultimately you end up with both sides of the army entrenched along a 20-mile front. This is stalemated for weeks like this.
Yeah, how's that? The best part is you attack, you lose, and then you're just like, I guess I'll live in a mud pit for a while. That'll show them.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm not leaving. Right. So among the Union soldiers, there's a dude named Lieutenant Colonel Henry Pleasants. So he comes up with an idea how they can break this weeks-long gridlock. Turns out Pleasants was a miner before the war, and he proposes digging a long mine shaft under the no man's land, then planting explosives beneath the Confederate trenches. That you hit your cartoon dynamite plunger, you poke your fingers into your ears, and you wait for a hole to blow open in the enemy line. Unfortunately, it would not work out as well for him as it did for the venerable Wile E. Coyote.
I'm really hoping both sides tried that same plan and they ran into each other halfway across. Oh, hey. Funny story. You go. No, you go.
No,
you go first.
Okay, so this is awkward. Quick question. You guys digging other tubes?
What?
Did you say nyaus?
I did say nyaus. I heard it. Mm-hmm. I don't know what direction to lie.
Yeah. Yeah. Not clear.
No. Okay. So I'm thinking either we both agree to just fill it back in, right? Or
Dynamite roller derby in small tubes.
Yes! Okay. Excellent. To decide on slavery.
Exactly. This is how we'll decide slavery.
This is how we'll decide.
All right. So Pleasants proposes this to Major General Ambrose E. Burnside's Polk County High School's class of 1958's name that'll best fit into a Civil War essay honoree. And he says, hey, what the fuck? Why not? And he tells Pleasants to make it happen. Interesting side note, by the way, Burnside is literally the guy that we named Sideburns for. That's true.
Yeah, he looks like a hair tauntaun.
He really does, yes.
He's the best. Just the giant beard minus the chin part, sliced right out.
Yeah.
Old-timey sword.
Yep.
He looks like Cecil lost a really weird bet.
Yes.
Yeah. And Eli slept inside of him like a tauntaun.
Sadly, in real life, I lost that bet. Also, Cecil's wife is just really strong. Crazy strong. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, she's been doing interval training.
Is that it?
Yeah,
good for her.
It is. That's what it is.
Good for her. Yeah.
All right. So Meade gets a hold of the plan. He's skeptical. First of all, he apparently hates the ever-loving fuck out of Burnside. He's probably just jealous of his sweet cheek pube fame or whatever. So he's naturally inclined to shit on anything that Burnside suggests. But to his credit, he also had good reasons to be doubtful. The tunnel Pleasants wanted to dig needed to be 500 feet long. And the Union Army had tried a similar stunt with a mine shaft 1/10 that length, and it fucking collapsed. The mine Pleasants wanted to build would have been the largest military engineering project in history.
Okay, hold on. They failed to dig a tunnel that was 1/10 of 500 feet. The whole might of the Union Army couldn't dig a tunnel from my porch to somewhere around the middle of the backyard.
Apparently not, no. So all that being said, the troops were getting restless, and trench warfare has a way of making soldiers recognize the futility of what they're doing.
Yeah, because up until now, the Civil War had been going so well.
Yeah, right. No, everybody's been
it,
having a lot of fun. Yeah.
The Civil.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was a good joke, Tom. Good joke.
He's holding up his own shit tit sign on his own joke. I love it. Now, of course, Meade, it figures you know what, this won't work, but at least this will give the soldiers something to do to keep them from getting super antsy. So he agrees to Burnside's plan, but, and this is important, he offers exactly zero logistical support. He will not even send those motherfuckers shovels.
So they were given the same amount of supplies as a modern public day school teacher. Okay,
Yes.
And they had the same percentage risk of getting shot. So
Bunch of black soldiers actually wanted to help out, but Joe Biden wouldn't even send a bus. True story.
true. It's a true story.
He might be president.
No, he
He's
won't.
not. Don't worry.
100%
I
not
can't
happening.
promise you much, my friends.
Liz Warren 2020. Woo!
Tim Ryan, unexpected comeback 2020. He said no one's coming to save us on national. Never mind. Go, Noah. You were talking about the Civil War.
Yes, I was. I'm talking about the first Civil War. Yeah, let's not get on to the second one already. Now,
The prequels are never as good. They're just...
all right, so I want to go into a little bit of detail on the construction of the mine itself, because I'm sure Tom is super curious. And also because it was actually a really amazing feat of engineering, especially when you consider that this was all done with improvised tools by people who were being shot at the time, right?
Swear to God, Noah, if this starts with another history of digging, I'm leaving. I can't... No.
Delete. Sorry, I got to delete some shit. All right. So the biggest problem you encounter when you're trying to dig a tunnel this length is ventilation, right? So as you move further and further into the mine, you're moving away from your source of oxygen and you're exhaling a bunch of carbon dioxide. So if you dig far enough, suddenly you're going to asphyxiate. Now, normally the solution is just pop a chimney up every so often, and that gives you a source of fresh air. But as dumb as the Confederacy was, they probably would have noticed a series of breathing tubes popping up ever closer to their line. So these guys had to come up with something else.
Yeah, a Confederate soldier just sitting there and a periscope pops up, the eye winks, and then it goes right back down.
What do you see, soldier?
Nothing, sir. Just another flirty worm.
Sorry, what?
It's actually like the whole movie Tremors was just edited right out of the Ken Burns documentary.
Yeah, no, it was. It would have been so much better. So now what Pleasance came up with was actually pretty ingenious. So basically you have a wooden pipe that funnels fresh air into the tunnel and a shaft with a fire burning at its base that's going to heat up all the stale air that's deep in the tunnel, and that's going to cause that to rise back out, right? And that actually creates a vacuum that pulls fresh air down into the tunnel and creates a noticeable breeze for them as well.
Huh, replenishing air with fire. That's a fresh light. That's what that is. I'm winning you over.
I just want to say the solution to the problem was a flaming snorkel fan. I'm so fucking in on this
I
thing.
told you he'd be into this engineering. All right. So, of course, the other big issue they faced was the Andy Dufresne problem, right? So they're trying to do this in secret, so they can't exactly have this giant expanding pile of dirt right behind their trenches. So they actually had to carry the dirt several miles behind the line, and then when they got there, they would, like, stick brush and shit over top of it so that no spies would notice anything was amiss. And, of course, this process is made all the harder because the fucking commander wouldn't give them wheelbarrows.
What?
Guys, no, I got it. We just dig a hole and bury the dirt right there in the hole. Okay, no, I heard it. I said it out loud. I heard it.
All right.
I'll leave.
So despite several problems in the construction and supply shortages so great that they literally had to dismantle a wooden bridge to secure enough timbers to hold up their tunnel at one point.
No. They had bridge dismantling tools, but they didn't have shovels? Because this just seems passive-aggressive now. It's like, no, it's fine. I'll make my own tools. Don't get up. I'll just be winning the war. You got a nap or whatever you're doing. It's cool. It's fine.
All right, so eventually they make it to 500 feet, and by July 17th, they're right below the Confederate trench works. You guys can feel the fucking tension, right?
Yeah, it's going.
Now, at this point, they form a T with the mine so they can blow up a wider swath of Petersburg's defenses, and once that cavity is fully excavated, they fill it with thousands of pounds of gunpowder.
There's that one really excited foreman in the back that's like, give me a T!
We got it, Dave. Shut the fuck up. It's a T. It's a fucking T. It's the shape. Yes. You're the worst.
So, they had
Fucking
their
hate
little
Dave.
shit tit sign back then, too, yeah. So, all right, so Burnside had requested several lengths of 100-foot waterproof fuse for his operation. What Meade sent him was a shit ton of 10-foot-long non-waterproof fuses and a note that said, fuck your face. But Burnside's men, to their credit, they spliced that shit together. They made a really long daisy chain of fuses to make this work.
Okay, sir. So, in spite of not having basic tools or supplies and constantly being under fire, we dug a secret bomb tunnel, filled it with explosives behind enemy lines. All we need from you now is a fuse.
I got it. Okay, you can have 11 feet of yarn.
Yeah. That's fine, I guess.
Actually, sorry, it's actually more like 9 feet. We played Cat's Cradle. Do you want to play?
So,
we're in a war.
All right.
This is how we'll decide on slavery.
It is, though.
We barely got
All right.
that one.
So in the pre-dawn hours of July 30th, 1864, Pleasance lit the fuse and detonated what may well have been the largest explosion human beings would create until we dropped the atomic fucking bomb.
Really?
Big fan of the
Who said
atomic bomb?
yeah for the atomic?
Got some fans of nuclear genocide in the audience tonight.
Hey, some people like big explosions, Eli.
Yeah, leaving nothing but the shadows of children. Let's hear it for them.
All right, you fucked up my tension, by the way. You fucked up my tension all the way
Tension,
here.
bring back the tension.
Yeah, remember, I was doing the low voice suspensey thing. Here we go. The Union soldiers...
Got it?
Thank you.
Tension.
The Union soldiers advanced in the wake of this blast, but they'd soon find out that they'd used 8,000 pounds of gunpowder to dig their own grave.
Dun, dun, dun. Heavens.
Okay, it's official. Noah did, in fact, choose a Confederate victory for the topic of his show. Thought there might be a twist. Sounds like no.
Nope.
Guess that explains the people out front of the pit with the tiki torches. Chanting, whose streets are streets.
Oh, no. Okay.
Or maybe they thought that big red statue with the bow tie was a Confederate general.
That could have been it, yeah.
Could be.
Either way, we're going to take a quick break for some apropos of nothing.
Private Smith, get over here.
Yes, sir.
I need a detailed report of the supplies on hand. Did HQ send the 500 assault rifles?
Yes, sir. Not exactly, but they sent the next best thing. They sent 14 Super Soakers and 12 cap guns.
With caps?
Not with caps.
I don't understand.
You want me to read that off to you again?
I do not, Private. What the hell are we supposed to do with Super Soakers?
They suggest that we fill them with pee.
What about the helmets? What about the body armor that we ordered?
Okay, they sent melons and a melon baller for the helmets. And for the body armor, well, I'm honestly not even sure, just kind of guessing. They also sent a case of duct tape wallets.
Actually, the duct tape wallets are pretty cool.
You're not in the sketch, Eli. Get out of the sketch.
Get out of the sketch!
You're not in a sketch. Duct tape wallets are a treasure.
Okay, Private, what about the tanks?
Oh, right, yeah, the tanks. We got shopping carts with bayonets taped to the front.
Is there anything that we asked for that they did send?
Yes, sir. We asked for the bottom 12% of last year's graduating class, and they did send that.
Wait, we asked for that?
Yes, sir, we did. We call them recruits.
And we're back. When we left off, the Union Army had just set off a giant bomb and started running towards it and the Confederate lines. And it's about to be just like Brokeback Mountain, is what Noah said.
Yeah.
So my interest is piqued. What's next?
All right. So I have to back up in the timeline a little bit. So the whole time the soldiers are digging this unprecedented tunnel, Burnside's job is to prepare for the post-Gallipoli attack. Now, that's actually a bit of a problem because pretty much all of his regiments have been constantly fighting since the siege began at this point months earlier. So none of them were in the state of ready that you'd want for a major assault.
Yeah, I'm going to guess they were a little worn out from digging a fucking tunnel using brooms of sawed-off legs.
Yeah,
whatever
right.
They had.
Right. But there was one exception. So Burnside had one entire division under his command that hadn't seen any real battle in the entire war to this point. So in the modern day, we kind of think of racism as pushing African-American soldiers to the front lines, but it turns out it can also push them to the rear, which is what happened in the Union Army.
Yeah, put the black guys in the rear. They can penetrate from further away. It makes obvious.
That tracks. That tracks.
So as Tom has...
Lost the camera.
The camera committed suicide at that joke.
Camera fucking quit.
Camera was
Quit on
like,
that
doesn't
joke.
matter if it's a
Like, fuck
positive
that.
stereotype.
I quit.
Doesn't matter.
Fucking quit.
I don't want to be associated with this.
All right. So as Tom has just aptly demonstrated, we have to remember these guys were only progressive compared to literal slave owners, right? So there was this widespread fear among the Union generals that black soldiers weren't brave enough or tough enough or smart enough or whatever to be in combat positions. So throughout the war, they were largely relegated to menial tasks behind the lines.
Black soldiers just like, I really want to get out there and die in the mud, but
Yeah, right.
you guys say so. I guess I'll stay back here and fuck your wives.
Hey, yeah, General, just feel my skull dimples. I'd have no idea what to do in a gunfight. No idea. Read a fucking phrenology book, General.
Second camera.
All right. So Burnside, to his credit, though, when he looks at this division, he sees fresh troops eager for a chance to prove themselves and shoot the fuck out of some slave owners. So he sets about training them for the attack. And by modern standards, the training they got was pretty lackluster. But by Civil War standards, it was really fucking good. Right? He spent weeks with these soldiers several miles way behind the line so that the Confederate Army wouldn't get wind of this coming attack. And he gave them very specific instructions on how to deploy.
And by Civil War standards, a regiment that still had half its limbs was fucking crushing.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
yeah, 3 years in. Yeah.
They had them all dressed in white face just to throw the whole thing off, too. It just...
So, all right. So here's what Burnside had in mind. After they detonate the explosion, 2 brigades rush the line. The Confederacy is going to be stunned for a bit, but as soon as they realize what happened, they're going to start rushing in reinforcements to this spot. And the Union soldiers are going to have to secure these trenches before that happens. So 1 brigade is supposed to go left at the explosion, 1 goes right. They seal off the trenches on the other side. Once they've done that, 2 more brigades pour in through the center and take Petersburg.
Oof. See, nowadays, Burnsides would have to work at a paintball course and take it too seriously until he killed his girlfriend and then himself. Oh. What? You show me a paintballer who doesn't murder his wife and his unborn child, and I'll take the joke back. Exactly.
All right, well, we already lost the zip-lining audience. I guess we've lost that.
Yeah, because they got killed by their boyfriend. They had a fight after an Imagine Dragons concert.
All right. So here's where his story goes horribly, horribly wrong, okay?
Just now with that joke.
Yeah, no, up until now, it's
really
been,
felt the
it's been
bottom
crushing
fall
it.
out of the audience.
I said the story, not the fucking essay, okay? So on the day before the battle, literally 15 hours before they're scheduled to light the fuse, Meade decides to make a change to Burnside's battle plans. He doesn't want to use this black regiment, so he orders Burnside to forego using the troops that had been training for this shit for weeks and instead give the job to white soldiers.
And the white guys are like, yeah, boss, that's great, but hear us out. We just invented something called affirmative action just now. We're thinking it's time to get woke. It's time to get woke.
General's like, look, there's a change of plans. We're sending these 5 koala bears with dull pencils, okay? That's the next thing.
At least that way fewer people would have got killed, man, honestly. Okay, So there's a lot of disagreement about why Meade made that decision. There are three main schools of thought. The first is that Meade is just a racist and didn't want to trust such an important mission to black soldiers.
Wait, important? Now it's important? 15 minutes ago, we were like, a wheelbarrow? No, I don't want to waste a wheelbarrow. And now these guys, like, splice together a bunch of sweet M80s into the neighbor's trash can. It looks like something amazing is going to happen. Now this is important?
Well, like I said, only one theory, a hard one to believe. So the second is that Meade didn't want to trust such an important mission to soldiers that had never actually been in battle. And the third, and the one that Meade tried to sell himself later, was that he was worried that if this attack went bad, they would accuse the North of using black soldiers as cannon fodder, which would be a huge propaganda victory for the South.
Losing the battle because you're unprepared is also great propaganda for the South.
Actually, as it turns out.
Yeah, I think losing a battle to the enemy is generally good for the enemy.
That's right. And that's not how propaganda works. People in the South would be like, oh, black guys is cannon fodder. Respect. That makes sense. That's how we train the police department. That's how we do it.
Oh, God.
Check out Ferguson, Missouri.
So, great. A lot of visual humor for the podcast. Thank you, Eli. So, regardless of the reason, Burnside pulls this highly trained division, and instead of handing the assignment to his next best guy, he literally draws names from a fucking hat to see who gets to lead the first wave of the attack.
They wouldn't send hats. It had to be a skull.
Right. So the name he pulls out of this skull was Brigadier General James Leslie. And how the fuck that guy even still had his job is a mystery. He was a known alcoholic and coward. He was profoundly incompetent, and he wasn't even an important person's kid.
I would like to know how he was a known coward.
Right?
He had a business card. Hi, known coward.
We don't need business cards. We have a support group. We meet in the comments section on YouTube, actually. That's where we do it. Yeah.
All right, so just in case this wasn't already going to go bad enough, apparently Burnside didn't give clear orders to Leslie or his men as to what the hell they were supposed to be doing. I think he was just harumphy at this point. Finally, use my fucking soldiers. So when the time came, they basically just knew they were supposed to go, like, forward.
So as prepared as Hillary Clinton's campaign manager, then.
Yes, exactly. Precisely as... Yeah, this...
me. I'm not our campaign manager.
Yeah, you got to keep in mind how many electoral deaths are going to happen on each side.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a tricky system.
All right.
Fuck that.
So the day of the battle comes. The plan was to detonate the explosion between 3:30 and 3:45 a.m., but because of their licorice rope of fuses, that didn't happen. In fact, nothing at all happened when they lit the fuse, and then they spent an hour and 15 minutes arguing about which unlucky bastard had to crawl down into that tunnel and see why the 8,000 pounds of gunpowder hadn't blown up yet.
Like some kid has to run over and kick it real fast and run away.
All right, so eventually they managed to get the fuse sorted out, and the charges erupt at 4:44 a.m. The gunpowder was only about 20 feet below the Confederate defenses, and it's tamped so that all the force goes up. The explosion kills 278 Confederate soldiers immediately and left a crater 170 feet long, 100 feet wide, and 30 feet deep, which is still visible today. We actually have a member of the audience who's been there. Where's he at? Yeah, right over here. Yeah.
Are we cheering for that?
Yeah, a giant useless hole in the ground. It's still the largest infrastructure project in the South.
No, it is. It is. Yeah. Right, unless you count the TVA. So at this point, the battle plan would have the troops in Leslie's division charging forward quickly to secure their advantage, but they really didn't know what to do. Right, so all reports are that they kind of milled around for about 10 minutes looking at all the cool explodey shit, and then they eventually ambled their way forward. Now, once they actually started to advance, they were further slowed down by the fact that there were supposed to be bridges over their own trenches. They hadn't been placed there. They were probably back at home with the fucking wheelbarrows. So each soldier had to scramble down the fucking trench, then climb back on the other side before they could advance.
They actually had to swing across the first trench on a vine and then use alligator heads to jump across as stepping stones to the next one.
Is that Pitfall?
Are you talking about Pitfall? Mad respect for the fucking Pitfall reference. Hell
yes,
yeah,
give it up
man.
for Pitfall.
Hell yeah.
Actually, I was talking
love
about
that
Trump's
game.
wall. That's what I was talking about.
So,
Alligator head.
At the breaks
right.
between shows, we're going to be like, okay, guys, this audience loves Pitfall and nuclear armament.
amphibians, yeah.
Sibians.
Fucking A.
All right.
Gloria checkout.
So after coffee and a cigarette, the 1st Division makes it over to the big crater, but they still don't know what they're supposed to fucking do when they get there. Now, of course, they could ask their brigadier general, but to do that, they'd have to go back behind their own lines to the medical facility he was hiding in and getting drunk. And they also could have asked their boss or their boss's boss, but apparently the two of them, even from before the battle started, were just spending all their time sending increasingly irate messages to each other about whose fault this was.
That had to be something to see, right? Well, you can tell Burnside it's not my fault. The bridges weren't there when they were supposed to be.
Okay, this is asinine. Sir, General Meade, he says it's not my fault. This is so dumb. He's right there. You can hear what
You can tell me that if he had let me use my black eyes, this would all be great.
I'm not telling him anything. We're all in the same tent. We're right here. We don't have time for this. Something's about to happen.
Well, you can tell Burnside I would have let him use his black troops, but I was distracted looking at his dumb face.
I quit the Civil War. That would have been great if we could doodly-doo out of the Civil War.
Right? Why didn't they think of that? All right, so these soldiers get over there. They think to themselves, well, we went to a lot of trouble to make this great big fucking hole. It'd be a shame not to use it. So they climb into the fucking crater and wait for somebody to show up and shoot them.
Sunk cost fallacy.
Well done. Well done.
All right. Thank you.
That's an amazing joke. That's an amazing fucking joke.
I thought so.
All right. So, yeah, I guess they thought that this was like a super trench or something. But to be fair to them, they had no idea what the fuck they were supposed to be doing.
Now, admittedly, they don't know what they're supposed to be doing, but that's like the tactical equivalent of seeing a gun barrel and saying to yourself, well, golly, what's down there?
It is, though. Of course, by now, the Confederate armies managed to rush in some reinforcements, so they form a semicircle around the crater and just start raining death upon these hapless soldiers. The brigadier general commanding the Confederate army would later refer to it as a turkey shoot. Because Southerners are fucked up and all of their euphemisms betray that.
So the Civil War wasn't.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Now, at this point, Burnside should have halted the attack, right? His first wave didn't secure the trenches, so there was no reason to send in the soldiers meant to take Petersburg, but apparently he was still busy sending, I know you are, but what am I telegrams to Meade. So the other divisions, including the Black Division that was originally supposed to be in the first wave, go marching in, and of course, when they see all their guys in the big hole, they naturally assume that that's where they're supposed to go, so they join in the getting killed.
Sir, we don't have any reinforcements, but we do have these lemmings in these tiny, adorable uniforms.
Yeah, this whole problem literally could have been solved by one hapless dad just shouting, okay, if all your friends jumped off a trench, would you? Short answer, yes. Yeah.
So, ultimately, this would be one of the most lopsided losses that the Union would suffer in the war. Their casualties topped nearly 4,000, while they inflicted fewer than 1,500 on the bad guys. 504 Union soldiers were killed compared to 361 Confederate soldiers, but you have to remember that the Union started off with a 278-0 lead in this.
Yeah, this would be like if we had boated a couple million American soldiers to Hiroshima just to walk around the city unprotected.
Right, to mill about.
And then the Air Force was like, cool, a mushroomy thing. Let's fly into it.
Okay, what I think we've learned is that fighting a war from inside your own grave that's not ideal. We shouldn't.
No.
You can live and learn. I mean, not you, you're dead, but we'll live.
Right, yeah.
and learn.
Maybe.
It's fine.
All right, so of the 4 divisions that took part in the battle, the Black Division was the hardest hit, even though they were the last ones to arrive. It's going to be, it's bad, right? Because once the Union Army gave up and withdrew, their soldiers that were still behind enemy lines had no choice but to surrender, and the black soldiers were systematically killed when they did that. And of fucking goddamn course, the Wikipedia article points out that also some black soldiers killed white soldiers that tried to surrender too.
Today I learned Glenn Beck is a Wikipedia editor. Just kidding. Glenn doesn't have the credentials to edit Wikipedia.
Right, yeah. All right. So now in the immediate aftermath of the battle, Burnside would be blamed for the loss along with Leslie, who did him the favor of resigning his commission before they could kick him out. Meade escaped blame for a while, but after the war, they had a second inquest that ultimately found that his decision to swap out trained soldiers for untrained ones at the last possible minute was very fucking stupid. They probably also pointed out that he could have at least given the poor motherfuckers a few shovels, too.
All right. Wow. So if you had to summarize what you've learned today in one sentence, what would it be?
That the South was apparently even dumber than that. Ultimately.
Yes.
You can see why I didn't do this one in Virginia Beach now, right?
All right. And are you ready for a quiz from our diverse panel of experts?
Way more ready than the fuckers in this story were, sure.
All right, Noah. Before I read this essay, what did I think the Battle of the Crater was going to be about? Is it A, Ray Comfort pronouncing the Battle of the Creator? B, what really happened during the moon landing, Cecil?
Sake.
Fucking kill you.
Or C, the time that woman refused to sell Tom and Hallett a pallet of whiskey at the liquor store.
Oh, because she crater. I get it. Okay. All right, I'm going to go Eli's secret answer D. You didn't think about it at all and stumbled blindly into it. By the way, that is my answer to questions like this in perpetuity as well.
Yeah. All right, Noah. Clearly being in charge of major military operations and being an inveterate drunk does not disqualify you for military service. What does, however, disqualify you for military service? That's literally...
Will you fucking stop taking...
Was that German Shepherd's Pie guy?
Yes.
All right.
Oh, no, okay.
One
All
behind German Shepherd's Pie.
Yeah, there we go.
It's a good thing we don't do predictable jokes on this show.
Wow.
We'd be fucked.
For the podcast listeners at home, someone just ruined the joke by saying bone spurs.
Just say bone spurs. We'll cut them out.
I'm waiting for my time. A, bone spurs.
Yes!
Nailed it.
Such a good joke.
Right.
And that's the only one you had to. At least when he did it to you, it was only 1/4 of your joke, Eli. I'm going to go with secret answer B, melanin. Oh. Hey, don't boo me.
Right? Wow. All right. Noah, what did we learn today is the biggest difference between the North and the South? A, racism, correct?
No.
Crushed it.
No.
You didn't get my jokes. You're not on it. Shh. B, really A. A, the mine shaft gap. Dr. Strangelove fans, thank you. B, the Mein Kampf gap.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big gap between the North and the South. Or C, the tooth gap. It's pretty big. This is hard to answer.
All right. Yeah, it is. But as the guy that came from Georgia and the guy with the largest tooth gap, I'm going to go with C. Thank you for that one, Heath. I'm glad to talk about teeth right now.
All right. Noah, one more question, buddy. One more question.
All right, I got this.
What was the documentary about this called? A, Inglourious Bastards. B, that thrilling tale of them combining all those fuses together. Join Wick. C, Enemy Mine. Or D, soil planting bombs.
All right. I fear that you went through them way too quick. And people might not have caught all the layers of brilliance in See Enemy Mine. So I'm going to go with that and reiterate that one.
Sure.
Well done. The winner is Noah.
Oh, I think we all won this time. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. That means I get to pick who's going to be next week's essayist or next show's essayist, depending on when you're listening to this. I'm going to go with Tom.
Okay, a little notice would have been good. I didn't read ahead.
That's all right. You've got like almost half an hour before the next show. You're good.
All right. Well, for Cecil, Noah, maybe Tom, and Eli, I'm Heath. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. We'll be back at 9:30 for the Late Show.
Yeah. Stick around.
And by then, we're really hoping Tom will be an expert on something else. TikTok, buddy.
Nope.
TikTok.
All right. Is it weird if I start writing now? I'm going to start writing now.
Yeah.
Pick up your cues.
My dreams are finally coming true.
Well done. Tom just came.
Eli is so fucking jealous right now. Eli is seething right now.
All right. Well, between now and then, you can hear Tom and Cecil on Cognitive Dissonance, and you can hear Eli. Yes.
Let them cheer. Let them cheer. Okay.
Give it up.
Okay.
You can also hear Eli, Noah, and myself on God Awful Movies, The Scathing Atheist, and The Skeptocrat. Ours was bigger.
That's what she said.
Although, I got to say, it's kind of weird if you listen to podcasts during the break between podcast shows. So, drink, mingle, fuck some other nerds.
Yeah.
Consensually, fuck some other nerds consensually. Shouldn't
You
have to
get a
say that.
Sibian and you get a Sibian.
Yes.
Or fuck a Sibian. Forget the nerds. The Sibian's probably better.
Definitely better than the nerds.
It'll last. It'll last longer.
All right. Well, in the meantime, yes, enjoy New York and then come back and have a drink with us after the Late Show. We're going to be at the Pit Bar, and they said they'll be open late with us. It's going to be fun. Excellent. Yeah. And if you're listening to this later and you didn't come to the show, give us the money you owe us at patreon.com/citationpod.
Yes.
Thank you. New York.